Street. Highball Bar offers a vibe and atmosphere like no other, making it the perfect place to grab a drink or beverage. Highball Bar features great events such as Karaoke Sunday, $4 Cheetos on Mondays, Jack Daniel's specials on Wednesdays, and much more. Make Highball Bar your go-to spot after a hard day at work or on the weekend. Highball Bar, located at 122 North 11th Street in downtown Lincoln.
Still using that old, outdated office phone system? You need better. At Hamilton, we offer solutions for the modern office. Whether you have an office full of staff or your employees work remotely and are on the go, seamless call handling is important. Elevate your communication and connect seamlessly with clients and staff with Hamilton Business Phone Systems. Choose better and hire Hamilton at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Come enjoy a show of the Midwest's best MMA on Saturday, August 10th at the Complex, the former location of Champions Fun Center. 9 fights are scheduled for the night, including professional lightweight and welterweight bouts and the main event of Donnie Bush versus Micah Washington in the professional welterweight championship bout. Doors open at 6 p.m. with first bout at 7 p.m. Learn more about the MMA fighters and buy tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com.
Hey guys, it's Bill Bush. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty has opened a new location in Pender, Nebraska, in addition to their office in Lincoln. The real estate world can be confusing, so why wouldn't you want an expert helping you every step of the way? If you're looking to buy or sell farmland in Nebraska, Kansas, or Iowa, give Ethan Sorensen a call today at 402-380-0432 or visit them online at nextagrealestate.com. Next Ag Appraisal and Realty with locations in Lincoln and now Pender, Nebraska.
Your child was embarrassed when you arrived at their basketball game. 75% of parents or guardians report current alcohol use. Drinking alcohol can cause harm to children and loved ones. By drinking less, your child will be excited to see you at their basketball game. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
On the Block with Strick and Austin.
If it was the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC's idea to kick back to grow the game at lower levels, we wouldn't have these conversations. But because the NCAA is asking them to do that, it feels like they're getting their wallet stolen, money taken out of it, and it's not their idea, so they're against it.
Yeah. Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Old School with DP and J.
There's California money, and it's a different kind of money. Hollywood money just is spent differently because it's turned over and created so in full. And oh, by the way, it's the right kind of money when it comes to, because we're in the era now of name, image, and likeness. Mm-hmm. And the California schools have that better than everybody else.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is the Don't Punt Hour with former Nebraska receiver.
Throwing over the middle, completes the pass. He's got speed to the end zone. Touchdown. 45 yards.
And return specialist.
This time he beats the kicker and one more.
DeMornay Pierson-El.
Not only does the sideline have confidence in Pierson-El, but Pierson-El has confidence in Pierson-El.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome into the Don't Punt Hour. My name's Harrison Arns on the ones and twos. As always, we got the host, Mornay Pierson-El, streaming in. If you guys want to join in, we got no Royals on the airwaves. We'll be live here. So 402-464-5685. That is the Starter Heyman text line. As always, you can also put a face to the voice using the streams, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, X, whichever one you want to call it. And as always, Allo channel 961. With that being said, got the house cleaning out of the way. Good morning, Pierson-El. How's it going on this Thursday night?
It's going well. Not too bad. Another day closer to football.
I was just about to talk about that. That's exactly where we're going with this one. We're about 6 days away from fall camp officially starting. We had some quotes yesterday. We're going to dive a little bit more into that in case you missed any of some of the Big Ten Media Days press conferences. We do got some more of Matt Rule's quotes. But the first thing I want to talk about, 5-star offensive line recruit David Sanders. He's making his official visit to Nebraska this weekend. He's also got Tennessee. But Dylan Raiola put out a tweet. He's going to be picking up David Sanders and invited all of Husker Nation to be out there and support when he brings them to Lincoln. Are you surprised at all to see the quarterback kind of taking these all roles already in terms of recruiting? Like, hey, I'll pick up the 5-star offensive lineman. I'll bring him to Lincoln. I'll tweet out.
No, you got to stroke people's ego a little bit. I'm surprised that he's taking it this early with Colorado being, one of the first 3 games that we playing. Like, you taking your official visit, like not experiencing, the game atmosphere. That's a bit different. But I mean, if that's what he wants to do and everything like that, to each his own. But I mean, you got a quarterback here. He needs protection for the next, 2-3 years. So I mean, he got a job on and off the field. So get it done.
Yeah, that's what made me laugh too. I'm like, that's the exact guy who he'd want to pick up and drop off. He's like, well, let's make sure I take care of you, because if you're playing for me one day, hopefully you remember I was the guy that picked you up at the airport. You want to make sure to protect me. I love it though. It shows that, I mean, the fact that we're still having 5 stars a lot more frequently show interest. What do you make of that? I mean, is this simply because of having Dylan Raiola just kind of buzz around Matt Rule and his past experiences? What do you make of this recruiting? We still got to see what it looks like on Saturday. We haven't won anything, but the recruiting certainly got better than expected.
The opportunity to play early and often is there, clearly. I think Rule has verbally said it, like he has no problem playing guys that, to a certain extent, as much as they can handle the things, they'll play. You got inexperienced / young offensive line. They've already went into the portal and, revamped, certain pieces and whatnot. So what's wrong with not, having your eyes on a place to where you can play early? Not to say, they're promising people to play early, but as long as you do what you're supposed to, at least you get 4 games. He said he's gonna play, freshman. He's gonna make sure that, the 2s and 3s get in so they are experienced, because depth is, what you need. So with the 5 stars coming in, I think Rule's done a good job of putting what he wants to do out there. He's been at the NFL level. He knows GM, he knows what it takes. His resume speaks for itself with just, generating talent. It may take some time here, but, it's in the next steps coming. So, I mean, why not jump on an opportunity if you can play early and you have, a 5-star quarterback who, if he each year gets better and better, you're going to have eyes on you. So why not?
Yeah, if I didn't know any better, you might have the rough draft, the one I want to talk about in front of you today, because it's exactly where I'm going. Let's hear Matt Rule. Simply just wanting guys who want to compete, because you mentioned it. If you're good, he doesn't care how young you are. If you're good, you're going to find your way onto the field. Here's Rule on wanting players who want to compete.
I laugh with Troy sometimes. Like if Haven Fields, our sport administrator, would have said, "Hey, I want to add USC and UCLA to the non-con," and I'd have thrown a fit. Like, I'm not playing those guys. Well, here they are. So I think when you look at the Big Ten, playing 9 conference games, more importantly, playing 5 road conference games. Not every conference plays 5 roads. Most of them, some of the 8-team leagues, they play 4 road games, and sometimes one's like a neutral site, so they play 3 where you have to go into someone else's stadium. We have to, in the Big Ten, we have to go into someone else's stadium in our league 5 times and duke it out. So, but I think we'll have a lot of access to the college football playoff, and I think 4 teams from this league should get in every year, because this is the best league. This is the NFL of college football in my mind. It stretches from coast to coast, different time zones, different weather. That's not to diminish any other league. The SEC is amazing. These other leagues are great, but the challenge in the Big Ten is going to be really difficult. Travel, weather, and great teams. For us, we think every game's a big game because we're playing in it, and we want. You didn't come to Nebraska because you wanted to play an FCS slate. You came here because you want the challenge of, we get to go to the Coliseum and play football. How lucky are we? And so that's why you come to Nebraska. That's why in recruiting, like, competitiveness is like my number one trait, because I want guys who want to prove it on the field, not anywhere else.
Some interesting things in that one. First one I want to kind of pick apart here. Again, mentioning he wants guys who can compete. Simply, the Big Ten, it's just incredibly deep now, especially with the Pac-12 entries. But he also mentioned, I think 4 teams out of the Big Ten should be in this new college football playoff format with 12 teams now every year, just based on the level of talent that's there. So that'd be this year thinking of teams, probably Ohio State, Michigan, maybe USC, depending on how highly you think about them, Oregon. 4 teams right there. You can throw in Penn State for your 4th one.
I'm like, you put SC in there before you put Penn State? The disrespect. My goodness, you must be high on SC. Like I said, I'm not taking debate. I understand Lincoln Riley is who he is. I understand what he's done, but honestly, in the big games with all the Heisman players and all the first-round draft picks that you've had, the consistently thing that USC or Lincoln Riley has struggled with is not having a complete defense. Even when they had Baker. Baker is arguably, the best quarterback to probably come out of OU. Well, outside of Bradford. Bradford was nice. But, and you're up on Georgia. You blowing them out the water, and yet you still come back to lose. So SC doesn't scare me. Like, they're not – and on top of that, you don't have a Heisman quarterback. You've had the luxury of having one Heisman after another. Jalen Hurts wasn't necessarily a Heisman, but he was a Heisman finalist.
Yeah, Heisman caliber nonetheless.
You know what I'm saying? So you don't have those. You don't have that. Gabriel's not that. So I'm not feeling that SC thing, but yeah, you're tripping on not having Penn State in there. Penn State has been one of the dominant teams in the Big Ten since Franklin probably took over, and he just had to either go through Ohio State or Michigan. He's done it twice where they've won the Big Ten and whatnot. So, you got to put a little bit more respect on Penn State before SC. That's just me speaking.
That's fair. No, in obviously hindsight, I'm just throwing teams out there. I think Penn State, more complete team. USC, it's just going to be about the defense. Can that defense hold? Can they hold for 4 quarters? We got one from the text line. Mississippi Mud Dog agrees with you. USC about to get beat up a lot worse than they know or expect to. Do you think this is going to be like the Nebraska experience where a little bit different, not conference, but Scott Frost kind of tries to bring his philosophy over, saying they're going to need to adjust to us? Riley being a little more careful with saying that same sentiment, but on Big Ten Media Days kind of hinted at it. With a lot more respect, I should say. He was a little wary of it. But how do you kind of see them plugging in here?
Again, they're a high explosive offense. They're going to be able to put up points quick, but with the Big Ten, it's not necessarily about points. Like, you have to have a strong defense to kind of even things out. We don't know. I know they have a young group. I'm not saying, they're not capable of it, but just typically when the Pac-12 teams line up against the SEC, line up against the Big Ten, they get blown out. Like, yeah, you start off fast, but it's not, it's not how good you start, it's how well you can finish. They typically don't finish well. So now you're in this league, like you're gonna have Big Ten schedules like in the next 2 years. This year, like I said, if a Big Ten team catches some of these Pac-12 teams that are in here early in the season, the advantage will be to probably the Pac-12 teams just because they're early. You're a lot more healthier. You haven't gone through the gruesome and football, wins and whatnot. Catch you, mid-October or play teams, late October in November. Let's see how you fare out against, Wisconsin. Let's see how you fare out against Iowa late in the season, because they're not going to give them Ohio State late in the season. They're not going to give them Penn State late in the season. No, they're going to get them early and out the way. That way, whatever it is, it won't hurt you in the back end of the stretch. So, are they good offensively? Can they be a threat? Yes. We don't know what they have at quarterback. We don't really know what their defense is going to look like. So that's a big question mark. So I'm not too high on them. Like I said, the strongest probably teams in my mind that I would pick out today, Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and probably Oregon. I would say those are the fair, they at least have good offense and solid defense.
I agree. I think Oregon, out of all the teams, is probably the one to look at.
They'll be fine, or I've played Oregon twice. Their defense wasn't, terrible. They jumped out on us both games fast, but again, they didn't maintain it through the whole game. I think
we won both of those, right? I think
my senior year at halftime, it was 41-14. They scored 41 points. They didn't score the rest of that game. And that was before you, and that was, if I'm not mistaken, Herbert was on that team, and you didn't score the second half of it. So again, with these Pac-12 teams, you're not going to be playing the teams that you're used to. And if they were in the Big 12, they would blow the Big 12 out. But they're not. Like you're going to have to play, big man football. It's going to be smash mouth football, and some of those teams necessarily aren't equipped for that. And I think you will see that later on in the season, or as some of these Pac-12 teams start playing, the upper teams or whatnot, and you'll see, y'all just can't compete on the defensive side.
I'm curious how much this switch over is going to challenge teams like USC and Oregon, Washington, UCLA, and really challenge their depth. In particular, when you're talking about you're getting to those later games in the season, the weather starts getting a little bit colder. Because that's one thing about the Big Ten. It's an absolute must. You need to have depth, just how physical it is. Looking at even Nebraska's schedule, we're going to have a run there. Those last 5 games, I'm going to be amazed if we all come out 100% healthy out of that. There's no way when you're playing those teams back to back to back, you're not going to have some tweaks, hopefully all minor, but dudes are going to be getting hurt.
None of those Pac-12 teams have that lineup late in the season. Mm-hmm. So it's like you're getting softly tossed in. They might play 3, tough games or whatnot and everything like that, but you're not necessarily going through a gauntlet. So that's what I say, give it this year. They'll probably do okay because half of their schedule, they're still playing the teams and conferences that they were playing in that they left. So give it, next year or the year after that to where you weed out the Pac-12 teams that you really aren't playing anymore, and now you're playing a full Big Ten schedule, and it's okay. October is going to be brutal. You got to go on the road and play at Penn State, then you got to turn around and play Iowa at home, and then turn around play Wisconsin on the road. That's not an easy schedule. Or if you get 2 of the true powerhouse or a strong university in the Big Ten, if you face them at the wrong time in the schedule, it's not going to be pretty.
Yeah, they're entering into a conference that we've got multiple quote unquote cathedrals of college football in the Big Ten now, and they're going to have to be making those rounds late in the season, and it's just going to be interesting. I give Oregon the best chance just because I think depth wise they're going to handle it. Defense is going to be the question, but certainly UCLA. Go ahead.
These Pac-12 teams, they're going to try and have them under less than 3 losses. That way you have more top teams, or you have more teams in your division that can get to the playoffs. If you got a 8-2 or a 10-2 or a 10-3 team or a 9-3 team or whatever at the end, they had to go through Ohio State, Penn State. Arguably they lost through those teams or whatnot, but everybody else they flushed. Are we taking that team versus the third or second best team in the ACC other than the champion? So that's where the strength of schedule will come in to help, because the Big Ten is deep. With some of these other universities, I wouldn't say the SEC is a little bit different with Saban gone, but the SEC you still have to respect it. I think the Big Ten is the closest thing to it. We're not quite necessarily there just yet, but the Big Ten can match up pretty well with the SEC. So give or take, whoever has the better year, it's a draw.
Yeah, I think the Big Ten still, you could argue, is deeper, but in terms of the heavy hitters, SEC still got the heavy hitters for the most part. They got the guys you're really worried about. Outside, we'll see what Michigan does if they can contend again. But it's been far and in between for the Big Ten to actually pull away with the national championship. One more question I want to ask you before we go to our first break here. especially from your perspective, since you did play wide receiver at Nebraska, how important is it to have the starting wide receiver named? Or is it just kind of somewhat known within the camp? Is it something guys outside of the QB room are even thinking about before the season starts?
It can be with a freshman quarterback, probably to get him more familiarized. So I'm like, within 2.5 weeks in the camp, you'll know. You'll kind of understand exactly what it is if there's a 2-man rotation at a spot or something like that. So they'll get that, assessed and situated fairly quickly. They'll patch it up or not, speak on it until the first game, just because you don't want to have to, you want the least amount of time for your opponents to plan for what your starting personnel is going to be and whatnot. So that's why you kind of see, them not really opening up and talking about things. But in-house players will know. They'll know within, like I said, by the 3rd week of training camp, like it is what it is. You know who the guy, who, mostly the starters are.
Yeah, and I think, it's just mainly coach speak from Rule. He hasn't named him the starter, but when he talks about Raiola, it says he's done everything right. If he's doing everything right, that means he's probably going to be the guy starting the job. I think it's fair, though. Just get through the coach speak. I want to ask, see if there's any importance of why you need to go ahead and name it, because I do imagine just about anybody who's scouting Nebraska, if they are ready, are going to be expecting Dylan Raiola. Go ahead before I go play this quote.
Like I said, I mean, like the players will know before anything. The media won't know probably till like the week of the game.
Mm-hmm. And I think even without being told, we all pretty much know. Now, if you're hearing things from Rule about camp, about, man, it's really close, then be bigger conversation. But the fact that he's sitting there saying he's done everything right so far, and he hasn't had any negative comments about him, kind of gives you the indication that things are working well. Before we go to break, we're going to listen. This is Rule's thoughts on it. Does the team need to know who QB1 is by a certain point? Obviously, in reference that fall camp is only 6 days away now. Here's Rule's quote on that.
I feel like it's my responsibility to give all these guys who've worked their tails off all summer a chance to show what they've done. That doesn't mean the reps can't be skewed. That doesn't mean I can't give Mitch all the 1 reps and give Robin all the 2 reps. But naming the starter and saying, "Hey, the competition is over," that comes at a. I'm sorry, flip it. Yeah. Wow, that touched the nerve. But that doesn't mean that you can't. That doesn't mean that when I announce it, right? Because one thing I've always wanted is, the quarterback has to know that there's going to be a day where the quarterback doesn't play very well. I was at the New York Giants, and Eli Manning, the year after winning the Super Bowl, we went in the game. I think he had like 4 or 5 picks in the first half. We didn't pull him. Go play through it. And when I name a starter, I want the starter to play through it. So, so as guys, as they progress, we'll skew reps in different guys' favors. But we do have to get all 3 guys ready to play. And then whoever's the next guy, whether it's Jalen, whether it's Bodie, whether it's Luke, they've got to be ready to play.
So there's his philosophy on it. Good morning, Pierson. I'll get your thoughts before we throw it to break.
He's not saying anything. He's saying he's being right and not giving away too much. Like I said, at about 2 weeks, you will understand what will be. They'll start giving, the guys that they expect to play, they'll start giving, them an extra rep in every period or 2 extra reps with the ones group or a group that they want to see what, and everybody will kind of adjust to that to kind of get things on fire and whatnot, so that connection is strong. So I mean, that's just what's gonna happen. Like I said, by week 3, it's gonna be what it is, and everybody in house will know, and you'll see it fast, especially once you understand and realize what to look for or what some of the older guys are saying and whatnot. You'll see it.
Yeah, and it's just that point in the season too where he's just being very careful with his words. Where why go ahead and name a starter, because he's right. You do that, competition's over. Why would you even do that? You're not even at fall camp yet, and you're going to name the competition. Iron
sharpens iron. You say that, why do the second and third string? Like, why do it even matter? They might not fully be there, or might be mad and irritated of the situation, and just now it's a little lackluster.
Yeah, and so you got to take that stuff with a grain of salt. Like, especially this early on, it's a lot of these coach interviews, it's almost like government press conferences or government, court hearings where they're going to give you answers with no specifics. And that's just kind of where we're at this point in the season. We're going to get some of these answers, but it's going to be broad brush and going through obvious coach speak, because Matt Rule's absolutely right. You'd be a fool just to go ahead and close the competition before fall camp even starts. With that being said, we'll throw it to break here. Don't go anywhere. We'll keep it rolling. 2 more segments. We'll keep talking college football, in particular the Huskers. Don't Punt Hour with Demarne Pierson-El. Talk to you in a little bit.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just a professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at pahlincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, our passion. For happier, healthier furry friends.
Prashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
You already know that Select Plumbing takes care of all your plumbing needs, including water heaters, faucet repairs, leaks, drips, sump pumps, and more. Now, they're able to help you with your heating and air conditioning as well. Select Plumbing has recently expanded into residential heating and air, and they're excited to bring this new service to their complete list of plumbing services. Call to book an appointment today at 402-560-6197 or go to selectplumbinginc.com. Serving Lincoln, Seward, Milford, and the surrounding areas. The next generation of Huskers starts now. Join the official Kids Club of Nebraska Athletics today to score access to select home games, a discount at the team store, and endless Husker spirit. The free JV team gets you started with a game credential. Upgrade to the $35 Lil Huskers membership for a welcome box and VIP Lil Huskers experiences. Fuel your Husker spirit. Join the Kids Club today at huskers.com/kidsclub. Go Big Red.
My early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take, but it gave my mom and me more time to plan together.
Talk to your family about seeing a doctor. Go to alz.org/time to talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
1 in 3 adults has prediabetes. 1 in 3. That means it could be you, your football buddy, your football buddy, or you, your best man, your worst man, you, your dog walker, your cat jogger. While 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes, with early diagnosis, prediabetes can be reversed. Take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. That's doihaveprediabetes.org.
Wait, did they just say 1 in 3 adults has prediabetes? That's 33.33333% of adults. That means it could be me, my boss, or my boss's boss, or me, my favorite sister, or my other sister. That's 7 members of my 21-person romantic book club. Wait, the 1 in 3 could be me, my karaoke partner Carol, or my karaoke enemy Jeff. I'm going to take the risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org.
Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
Start your Sundays off right with Jeff and Nicole Essink on Fitness Fanatics. Jeff and Nicole discuss health and wellness, how to achieve fitness goals, and more through the life of gym owners and gym goers. It's Fitness Fanatics from 9 to 11 a.m. on Sundays on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor. Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association. in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Be a memory for your grandchildren. Among Nebraska adults age 65 or older, 47% report current alcohol use. Drinking too much can cause harm to children, family members, and loved ones. By drinking less, you will still be around for your grandchildren. If you or a loved one is looking for help, find a treatment facility near you at findtreatment.gov. For immediate support, call, text, or chat 988.
Brought to you by Nebraska DHHS in partnership with SAMHSA.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza. The big one. All the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend. On the Block with Strick and Austin.
If it was the Big Ten and the SEC and the Big 12 and the ACC's idea to kick back to grow the game at lower levels, we wouldn't have these conversations. Right. But because the NCAA is asking them to do that, it feels like they're getting their wallet stolen, money taken out of it, and it's not their idea, so they're against it.
Yeah.
Weekdays from 2 to 4 on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Second segment of the Don't Punt Hour. We got the host, the former Husker wide receiver, special teams threat, DeMornay Pierson-El. If you guys want to join in, 402-464-5685, the Starter Heyman text line. I'll be open all night. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, and Allo Channel 961. All great ways to put a face to the voice. We're going to continue talking some Husker football here. And DeMornay Pierson-El, the first thing I'll ask you, so we're going to talk about the schedule later, just having an upgrade at the quarterback position. How much confidence does this give you for the second year of Matt Rule of finally moving the needle just to, at the bare minimum, go bowling? Do you have just the quarterback alone? Is that enough to kind of get us over that edge?
No. I think, is it an upgrade? Yes, but it's going to come down to the trenches. Can you keep him protected? Can you keep him upright enough to allow him to show his ability of what he can do? So yes, is it better? Is it a better quarterback situation than last year? Yes, it is. Do we know what we know about the offensive line? It's kind of unclear. You brought in some guys, you mixed things up a little bit. So hopefully you moved in a better direction. It's year 2 of a lot of guys playing together. I think a combination of those two things will get us to where we want to be. If one of those is lacking in one way or another, it might be difficult. We might find ourselves somewhat in the same situation last year with just needing one game to get over the hump.
Well, let me phrase that in a better way then. How much confidence, I should say, does it give you with the quarterback situation in particular? Obviously, everything's got to be clicking together. But just looking at the possible upgrade, how confident are you that we are actually going to be able to have this thing up and rolling come Saturday versus UTEP?
I'm very confident against them. That's not the game I'm worried about. I want to see how you can go at Colorado. Colorado got first round draft quarterback. He's going to be slicing and dicing. We've seen what he did all last year. He didn't have an offensive line. They got Hunter, who's going to be what he is going to be. And then you got the rest of the Big Ten schedule. Can you sustain that over the course of the whole year? If we had more consistent quarterback play early on, we wouldn't even have been, in the situation that we was at the end of the season. So I'm confident, but again, you can be confident all as you want to, but you still got to go out there and play. And we don't really know exactly what we got until we see, the live bullets and whatnot. So I think they should be well. They should be good. We're going to see once you get, a quality opponent and kind of see how they stacked up against, another talented roster.
Yeah. And I'll say this, I know you you kind of said it, just joking candidly, but I'm not overlooking UTEP either. I mean, I know it's UTEP, but I remember Georgia Southern. I remember Northern Illinois. I remember Troy. These teams have legitimate hope they can come in there.
Is that game early?
First game.
Is that game at 11?
I'll have to double check. I think
as long as we don't play at 11, I'm cool.
We might.
I think it's at 2.
Let's hope.
2:30.
Okay, the boys should be woken up.
It's gonna be hot. I understand they're in Texas and whatnot. They're coming up here. I'm not concerned about that game. Like that.
We shouldn't have to be, right? And that's we shouldn't have been worried about Georgia Southern, Troy, Northern Illinois. Now I think this is on paper much better coaching staff, much better than what we had in some of those previous games. But that's what I'm saying. I'd like to see this thing click sooner than later. Let's listen to
Georgia Southern had I think 2 or 3 guys go for over 1,000 yards. Their quarterback is he was up, I think, one of their best quarterbacks in their school history. We didn't have a quarterback that could throw an out route. So I mean, you got a quarterback that can throw at different angles. He's shown to his ability to throw the deep ball and whatnot. So we're gonna keep our opponents on our toes. We got 2 dynamic, running backs that can do anything in tackle, outside of tackle, catch out of the backfield, and you have a whole receiving core that everybody's the deep threat. Everybody can take it to the house, and now you have a guy that can at least give them a chance to catch the ball. So, am I confident we're in a different place? Yes. Like I said, now to continue that, we just have to see what the offensive line is going to do.
Yeah, and I am optimistic, especially now. We didn't lose a lot. It's going to be kind of juniors, seniors. I'm hoping, especially with Ben Scott, that leadership, let's pull this thing together. Hopefully that connection's there with Rayola and the offensive line, because I thought they actually did pretty okay. I think they're about average if you look at the rankings from CBS Sports they put out, which feels about right. They weren't terrible. The run game being as good as it was pretty astounding considering how much teams weren't expecting to pass at all. But let's hear Matt Rule. This is his thoughts. How much confidence comes from a change at the quarterback position?
That's not necessarily that. I mean, it's not necessarily that. We're so much different at receiver than we were last year. It's not even. I mean, everyone talks about the quarterback. Our O-line last year. Our O-line was running the ball against a defense that knew we were running the ball pretty much every play, and even a couple little bubble screens that Wisconsin properly executed, all of a sudden we scored a couple points, right? So I think with the adaptations we made in the receiving, playing those young guys last year, watching them develop, getting the guys who got injured, getting them back like IGC and those guys, and then adding in some guys from the portal, I think we could be a really dynamic team. And now I think people are going to have to defend the run and the pass, no matter who the quarterback is. And I think that's going to make our O-line better. And I think Finoni is a year off of 2 ACLs, and he's healthy. And all of a sudden now he can really get turned loose. And Borgature, I think, is an unsung hero. Carter Nelson, people don't even ask me about him, but I can talk about him all day. So I just think we're way more talented. And the guys that were here last year doesn't mean they're way more talented than they were last year because they're more skilled. So the quarterback play, the guys are going to be more open. You know what I'm saying? And they're not going to have to, some of our sacks happened last year when no one was open. They're like, oh, what do I do? And they're kind of running around and they get the sack fumble. We'll turn the ball over some. We're not going to be perfect, but we're going to be better. And the key is going to be is the defense better. And that'll be a major key.
Okay.
He does a good job of not pointing the finger. He did a real good job of not saying it was the quarterback or blaming kid, which is good. He directed it in a different way to kind of get you think, okay, well, yeah, that you are right about that and everything like that. So that's very, very crafty. I like that. But I mean, yeah, like I said, the offensive line stuff was skewed just because, people did know we were running. So I'm not, hanging my head on that. But I mean, like I said, we have guys that can actually throw the ball and give, guys an opportunity. So like I said, I think it'll be a lot more balanced, and depending on, okay, what do you want to stop, or, pick your poison of what you want to take away. We have a lot more playmakers in other areas, and I think they'll get a better chance to display, you know, what they have over the last couple of years of not kind of being able to show that as much.
Yeah. And I do like what he said too about he is very meticulous on how he's going to even out the blame. Thought it was hilarious kind of talking about, you know, Harburg scrambling, taking sacks, and he's like, well, there's nobody open on some of those plays as well. Kind of throwing the receivers like, hey, this whole offense wasn't pretty. We can't just look at Harburg and say, what the hell? We just need to fix the quarterback spot. Outside of the offensive line and running back room, pretty choppy, you know, and this leads me to my next point. Fedoni. It's hard to grade him because there's times, again, where he was open, just quarterback couldn't get it to him, or other times you could argue blocking could have been better from him, but we do got one. Unknown texter, Fedoni deserves a breakout year. I'm with you simply for the loyalty of staying with Nebraska, but what do you expect out of Fedoni? Hopefully just 100% to actually start the year now. Can he have some sort of breakout year with this new offense?
I think anything 700 yards plus and about 7-8 touchdowns. I think that is a successful year for him. It's not his fault at all. People can be criticizing on the blocking stuff at all. If you go back and watch the film, the quarterback missed him point blank period. Like I don't have no favors. I'm gonna call a spade a spade. He can say dudes weren't getting open. No, the quarterback the quarterback was missing guys. Period. That's what the problem was, or he couldn't get it to him. Mm-hmm. You got a guy back there now who's been playing a quarterback, you know, for at an elite level and whatnot. You've got a guy that, you know, has different angles or whatnot. Now you can expand the playbook, and maybe you might see, you know, Fedoni detached instead of attaching to the line, helping with blocking, and instead of having, you know, all 6 or 7 guys in there, you got a full protection. Now you can see him, you know, extend it out, or you can see him, you know, backside. And you know, if they playing man, a linebacker's out there and he's, you know, going at it like a receiver. So I think you'll be able to see those things because you have a guy actually who is a pocket pass guy or a dual threat guy. So I definitely expect, you know, his ceiling to go up. And I definitely think, you know, they're going to use him now. That there should be no excuse this year. And if there is excuse and everything like that, then, you know, you got to figure out what the problem is.
Yeah, I think he will have. To the level of breakout, I'm not sure, but he's certainly going to have an uptick because the other thing that I think is going to be a lot better this year is obviously the run game. And when you're running some of those sets, and it's a lot less obvious whether you're going to pass or throw, that's also going to help Fedoni out a ton. I mean, there's just situations where the play calling was so obvious. It was tough for him to get open to begin with. There's so many other threats out there, and you get a guy like Dylan Raiola. I mean, if he becomes best friends, you see those elite quarterbacks.
If the run game takes off how it's supposed to, play action is going to kill, and Fedoni will eat play action because, I mean, you got a safety or a linebacker that's guarding you. Just say if you run a simple flood concept, you know, you got 2 receivers clearing out on one side, and Fedoni has either, you know, the right or left safety or free safety or strong safety or linebacker, you know, playing him, and you got the whole from the hash to the sideline, and the dude is playing him from inside out. Like that's a win. We've seen flashes of what he can do with being in a predictable offense. Now, like I said, if they just take care of business, the play action will go crazy, and Fedoni will be streaking down the middle of the field or making you know, crazy plays left and right. So I'm excited actually for him because I think, you know, he should get what he deserves.
Yeah, I love that you brought up the play action because it makes me chuckle a little bit. I mean, there was times last year where you would see Fedoni, even Borktra, at times they try to put him out there, try to run a seam route on a play action. Nobody was biting. I mean, nobody bought it for a slight second. The linebackers immediately started filling the holes. They weren't giving in. So this hopefully, again, open up those seam routes. Hopefully Fedoni can try to get open. I think it's just going to be a lot more balance. We'll keep talking some Husker football. We'll talk about their schedule. A real chance, if just going by paper, I'm not saying this is what's going to happen, but on paper, this team goes 7-0 and then loses the last 5. If we're just looking on who should win based on talent. So we'll talk about that to wrap things up. Don't go anywhere. Dump Punt Hour with the morning Pierson-El. Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s. We'll talk to you in a little bit.
Get ready, Husker fans. The Big Red Preview is coming soon. Join us Saturday night, August 3rd, for an exclusive look at your Nebraska football team in action. Experience the excitement, the energy, the sights and sounds of a game day as the 2024 football season kicks off. Visit Huskers.com/tickets and bring your family, friends, and all your Big Red pride to Memorial Stadium Saturday night, August 3rd. That's Huskers.com/tickets. Brought to you by Husker Athletics and 1890 Nebraska. Winning tradition, future success.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, we'll see mainly sunny skies, and it will be hot. We'll see an afternoon high around 96. Tonight, mostly clear and mild with a low around 71. And tomorrow, we'll see more sunshine and another hot afternoon. High again around 96. And meteorologist Kyle Klecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Join us on Monday, July 29th at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O to celebrate the company's 40th anniversary. Enjoy 40% off wings all day and your favorite sports talk hosts on air from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Come hang with us for the 40th anniversary party on Monday, July 29th at the 68th and O Buffalo Wings and Rings.
The weather is hot, the kids are out of school, and you're on your way to the lake and summer road trips. Are you getting to your vacation spot comfortably, or is your car letting you down? Mullen Motors Lot is full of great vehicles to take home, so you don't have to worry about your current car barely surviving another road trip. Come check out their lot just north of 48th and Layton and find your next ride for summer road trips and beyond. Mullen Motors.
No tag-ons, just quality vehicles. Mullen Motors.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
A Shiro's work is never done. You care for the house, the kids, and our future. We're so grateful for all you do. Now it's time to care for yourself and save a little more for retirement. A free 3-minute online chat can give you the personalized tips you need to boost your retirement savings now. Visit aceyourretirement.org/Shiro today.
A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Pastor Tom. Did you know there's a place kids can seek out help when they're away from home and something goes wrong? They find themselves in a difficult spot or even a dangerous situation. Maybe another child is bullying them or a stranger is following them. Perhaps on a date and things just go bad. In Lincoln, here's where they can find help. It's called Safe Place. Safe Place is a national program for children taking place in thousands of cities across the United States. The People Seating Mission is sponsoring this program in our community and has set up a number of businesses, fire stations, schools, and nonprofits around the city to become safe locations where kids can seek out help. They just need to look for the big yellow sign that says Safe Place on it. Then go inside and ask for help. We will be quickly connected to them and ensure they make it back home or to whatever resources are needed. If you'd like to find out more about Safe Place and ways in which you can get involved, just go to pcmlincoln.org. Remember, when we all do a little, we change a lot.
Play ball! Looking for the ultimate change-up from the typical family nights? How about a Grand Slam good time with friends and coworkers? Then unleash the fun at Haymarket Park with an action-packed, thrilling season of Salt Dogs baseball. Choose from 50 home games now through August with daily and weekly specials your whole pack can enjoy, including group discounts. Don't miss out on the magic and the excitement. Strike three, you're out! Visit saltdogs.com to reserve your tickets today. Unleash the fun.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it twice a day.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it in the morning and before dinner.
I get it, slip it, cuff it, check it, and share it with my doctor.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor.
Now that I know my blood pressure numbers, I talked with my doctor. We're getting those numbers down.
Get it, slip it, cuff it, check it. Talk to doctor now and share it.
Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Learn more at manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association, in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
In every office, there's two types of people. There are those who bring in bagels and those who eat the bagels that someone else brought in. Everybody likes the first person. Be that first person. Weekday mornings at 7:30, you have a chance to win a business box of bagels from Bagels & Joe. All you have to do is shut up, Sipple. 2 questions for you, 2 for Sip. Win, and the bagels are yours. Lose, well, you don't want to lose.
You lost Monday, you lost Wednesday, you're a loser.
Shut up, Sipple. Weekday mornings at 7:30, brought to you by Bagels & Joe. This is the Don't Punt Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, DeMornay Pierson-El.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment of the Don't Punt Hour. We got the host, DeMornay Pierson-El, as always, streaming in. Harrison Arns on the 1s and 2s, wrapping this thing up, talking about the Husker football schedule. Looks promising early on, looks brutal down the stretch. DeMornay Pierson-El, we're going to quick go through it and just think about how realistic this possibility might be. So, first 7 games, we've talked about it before, but you do got UTEP, Colorado, Northern Iowa, Illinois, Purdue, Rutgers, Indiana. That's your first 7. How realistic is it to be looking at this thinking Nebraska could be 7-0 at this point in the season? You got to unmute yourself real quick.
I think it's sorry. I thought I did. I think it's a real shot. You got to be able to play. I mean, they can be 7-0, they can be 6-1, either or. I'm happy with. It just depends on how well the quarterback can adapt to just keep things moving and whatnot. I'm not worried about the defense. The defense is going to be the defense. I'm cool on that. Just you got a freshman. Whether if it's Danny or if it's Raiola, you have a freshman quarterback that's in there. How are they going to adapt to the game, adjust to the game and whatnot? So it all starts, there. And like I said, I think regardless of what's going to happen, you're going to have an evenly balanced offensive attack thing. So even if we go back to last year's game with Colorado, the offense put the defense in bad positions. So that game would be different if, you don't got 3 or 2 turnovers. Well, 3 turnovers in your own territory, a pick and 2 fumbles. It's a strong chance. 7-0 could be there.
Yep, always a chance for it. How likely is it? Wouldn't be surprised if somehow Illinois catches you. Whatever you think about Illinois, I think Brett Bielema is a damn good coach. I think last year was kind of weird. It was the most uninspired Illinois team I've seen under him. So I don't know if
they lost a lot. They lost a lot the year before. They lost a lot of dudes to the draft.
Yeah, I think their offensive line and running back room took a pretty severe hit. And obviously when you're Illinois and Brett Bielema, that's kind of your bread and butter. So I don't expect that 2 years in a row. So that's one of the teams I'm not going to freak out if they find a way. But this is the stretch where some people are saying 0-5. I'm going to say 1-4. I don't think we lose to UCLA. That should be a given. Or shouldn't be, but hope to be. Ohio State, UCLA, USC, Wisconsin, Iowa. Some people, that's where things can go awry, and you might go 1-4. How confident are you that Nebraska can at least go 3-2 down the stretch? I think if you go 3-2, you're feeling pretty damn good, especially say you go 6-1, 7-0 for those first 7.
See that's the hard part, just because that's when football takes a tear. We went back to, I think, who got hurt last year? I think the receiver at Illinois, if I'm not mistaken. That was around that time.
Junior.
Yeah. So that's where you start to see, wear and tear of things and injuries and everything like that. So that one is a little bit harsh. It just depends on how healthy we are, honestly.
Yeah, and that's what gives me some hope is you look at the wide receiver core. especially just the fact that a lot of those young guys got some reps. If we do have some injuries, we should be okay. So turn down that outro music a little bit. The offensive line, a lot more senior leadership, and you do get some depth there as well. We got the recruit out of Hawaii. I know he's young, but should be able to play him if absolutely needed. Feel pretty good about it. I'm not going to ask you for your exact win-loss total quite yet. Still way too far out before that, but that's going to wrap it up for the Dump Punt Hour. We'll keep talking Husker football as we get closer to it, as well as the NFL. But like I said, that's going to wrap it up tonight. Shout out to Morning Pierson-El on time as always. We got some replays for you up next. Talk to you in a little bit.